So Arjuna is asking Krishna about the person who is in Siddha Pragya, who is in the right consciousness, a fixed consciousness. What are his symptoms and how does he speak? How does he walk? It doesn't literally mean he wanted to know how does he walk, whether he walks with two legs or in a different design he walks. No, it's not like that, but rather his behavior, his conduct, his way of approach to the situation, and how he actually speaks, of course, because speech is something very important for everybody, not just for sages or exalted personalities. How they speak are important, but the symptom of one's intelligence will be revealed in one's speech, correct? So when a foolish person starts talking, sooner or later it will be found out that he is not an intelligent person. Similarly, when we wanted to become Krishna consciousness and we wanted to act in such a way, but we are not trying to do that in our speech, in our actions, in our thoughts, and everything, it will be revealed, correct? So, whatever we do, we offer, if we follow in the footsteps of great acharyas, Vaishnavas, and exalted personalities, even like Arjuna, Narada, Lord Shiva, like that, and Brahma. So, so the symptom with the speech is in Srila, Srila Prabhupada says, Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Instruction, it says, Vacho Veham Manasaha Krodha Veham Jivva Veham Uttara Upastha Veham. So Vacho Veham means speech, urge to speech. In India, especially if you're into political thing or celebrity, if you're a celebrity, then all they do is talk, talk, talk. All the time they talk and they love to talk. And if you are given opportunity with a mic, then what, then forget about it. They never stop talking like that. So everyone likes to talk about something or someone, and whether are we talking that our talking, does it make sense or it's just completely nonsense, correct, based on the subject matter that we are talking about. So when a person who is in Krishna consciousness, it will be immediately identified because he will be talking about Krishna, right? Not only he is eager to know about Krishna, know more about Krishna, or hear about Krishna, but also he will be very eager to broadcast this knowledge to others. Okay, so that is very important that we need to understand. So even amongst ourselves also we can relate to that. We also are trying to learn how to become Krishna consciousness, how to become peaceful and happy in a God consciousness way. And when we try to follow this, and there are of course things that we want to hear more about it, and then we wanted to tell these things to others also, so we also can relate to it, correct, because we that's what we are doing. And that's the immediate symptom. So I was reading Bhagavatam Canto 2, chapter 5. Narada Muni asking Brahma about few questions about who is the creator and everything. It's not that Narada Muni doesn't know who is the creator or who is the supreme lord. He was telling, Narada was telling to Brahma that Brahma is supreme lord. That's what he thinks so. So therefore he wanted that to be clarified. See, when Arjuna asked such questions to Krishna and Narada Muni asked such questions to Lord Brahma, it doesn't mean that they both are in ignorance or they are asking such questions. They should know already because they are devotees, pure devotees. They are not even practicing devotees. They are pure devotees already, liberated and pure devotees. How come they ask such questions? Because they want to give this ordinary people like you and me that to remove our ignorance for our benefits, such questions are asked. Okay, so that's what it is. So it doesn't definitely mean that Narada or Brahma doesn't know. I mean, Narada or Arjuna doesn't know the details of it. Okay, so next verse 55. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha प्रजहाति यथा कामन् सर्वान् पार्थो मनोगतान् आत्मनि एवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञा ततोच्यते. Translation. Can someone read the translation, please?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concussion, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness.
Yeah. So, how does one give up all material desires? So, see, we are trying to give up all material desires, but it is not possible. So, I wanted to give up eating gulab jamun, and I see gulab jamun on Diwali day. It's not true, actually. I didn't see any gulab jamun, even though I would love to see and eat it. Now that I remember gulab jamun, I want some. But anyway, so this gulab jamun again, when I see, I want to control, but I can't control. Because if you try to artificially control or give up on material desires, it's not going to work. So the mechanical process or artificial process, it won't work. Okay, because our senses are very strong and mind is stronger than those senses. And when our intelligence is weak, intelligence can't tell the mind what is right and what is wrong, because intelligence doesn't have knowledge, sufficient knowledge. And that vidya or knowledge comes from Vidyadhara, like someone who possesses that knowledge and gives it to us, like Krishna giving it to Arjuna. So we are getting that from Krishna. So Krishna is Vidyapati, so he is absolute supreme of everything for knowledge also. So when the knowledge coming from the right authoritative source, we should take it and follow it, right? So we don't have to question it, because there are enough questions asked by the great devotees like Arjuna, Narada, Shiva, Brahma, and everyone directly to Krishna or directly to devotees of Krishna. So the answers also captured in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita, scriptures like these, because the Amala Purana, Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. It's the topmost Purana of everything. Bhagavad Gita is the beginner study, and as you progress you start Bhagavatam also. Okay, so Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. When Krishna departed the earth planet in Dwapara Yuga, and he actually appeared in the form of Bhagavatam. Okay, so therefore, whatever it is said in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we can we can take that as the face value. We can completely accept and follow, because enough questions asked and more than sufficient satisfactory answers also revealed by devotees and Krishna directly. Therefore, we don't have to spend time on that part, but rather spend time on reading and hearing. So those who hear about Krishna, who questions about this transcendental qualities or pastimes or form, or nama rupa guna leela of Krishna, who listens all this. Sometimes one may be questioner, one may be speaker, one may be hearer. So all of them are purified at once when it is spoken about Krishna. Okay, so when we are in this pure transcendental consciousness, like simply by chanting Hare Krishna, we come to that stage gradually. When we are in the transcendental platform, we do not have to artificially give up on material desires or mechanically do that process. Okay, so and I think Yamunacharya would have mentioned something. Let me see. Okay. All right. In 60th verse, there will be an analogy that we will cover, but now we move on to the next one. So, verse number 56. So anyone can read the verse. Just translation or verse and translation is up to you.
दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमना सुखेषु विगतस्परा वितरागभयाक्रोधा स्थितधीर्मुनिर् उच्यते. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and one who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called a sage of steady mind.
Hmm. So this is this quality is about Sthita Dehi or Sthita Dhira, like that. You can call one as Dhira when they are equipoised. When one is equipoised, that means he is very neutral towards the situations, whether it is happiness or distress. Sometimes we try to tolerate the distress, but we fail to tolerate the happiness also. I was listening to one of the lectures this morning by one Prabhu. So he was saying we need to tolerate our happiness also. Why we have to tolerate our happiness, right? Because if we do not know how to manage this, because the happiness and distress come and go. If you are overly excited about the happiness, it is most likely that you will be overly distressed about the distressful situation also, correct? But if you find out that the happiness and distress is like Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkada, second chapter we already discussed this, I believe in 15th verse, I believe, matras parasad kaunteya sita ushna sugadukada. So when we understand that it come and go by on its own accord, according to our karma, it come and go, right? So if you are worried about too much on this, too much on that, then we will not be peaceful. So we can't be equipoised. So when happiness come, yes, it's good. The happiness came, and we'll move on. And distress comes, yes, it's sad the distress came, and move on. So when we have that clarity within us, then whatever situation it might be, whatever in our life that bring to us, so sometimes loss of job, health issues, neighbor issues, even someone snoring in the middle of the night, you're not able to sleep, like anything silly or big thing, doesn't matter, we all have this, there is a threshold that we have, that when we get frustrated really, like sometimes, if you someone keeps annoying you 10 times, you will not get annoyed, but 11th time you will really, losing your temper, like that. But when we start to practice everything, slowly apply in our life, day to day life, that's more important. So if we don't know how to apply tolerating the frustration or anger or anything like that, then we need to pray to Krishna. So we need to offer our prayers to Krishna, chant Hare Krishna with those prayers, specifically what that we wanted to achieve. Okay, so what happens when we are in that situation? There will be fear, there will be no anger, correct? Because you're fearful because you're stressed about what the future would look like. Okay, if you attend the interview, will I get the job? Okay, so I applied for some claim. Will I get the claim successful? Something like that. So always anxious about something, then there is a fear. Due to anxiety, there is a fear. And when the situation doesn't go in our way, that how we thought it should go, it doesn't work. Of course, it doesn't work like that. But when it doesn't go in our way, then what happens? There is a frustration that leads to anger. Okay, so when these situations come, our quality is diminished, start to diminish. So we are trying to come to mode of goodness, but because of these situations, we fall down to mode of passion and mode of ignorance. When we chant Hare Krishna, we come to mode of goodness, and we purely chant that with full dedication to Krishna. Then slowly we come up to mode of pure goodness, because we are still in fluctuation stage at the moment. We are not fully in Krishna consciousness, because we are trying but not fully in Krishna consciousness, right? So, therefore, when we keep doing this practice slowly and gradually, every day increasing rounds also, keep that in mind. We need to increase rounds, number of rounds. We can't sit in the standard like year one, as they say here, prep or year one for 2 years, 3 years. No, you need to move on. So if you're chanting, if you have been chanting one round, two round daily, now you are time to move on to 4 rounds, 5 rounds, like that. Okay, every Ekadasi you can increase the not verses, sorry, the chanting mantras. So, 56th verse is also talking about this person will be Sthita Dhira, that is equipoised in happiness and distress and free from fear, anger, and attachment also. Only when you're too attached, that's when you become anxious. When you're anxious, that's when the fear comes. What if you lose it? What if you don't get it? Correct. And whether it's good or evil, you're unaffected because you have this firm knowledge, then you are Dhira, equipoised. Okay, so next verse, can someone read this verse please? 57. So we covered 57 also. Okay, we go to 58. I just explained 57. Okay, I read the verse. If someone can read the translation. Yada samharate chayam kurmo ganiva sarvashaha indriya indriya debayas tasya pragnya pradistata. Translation. Can someone read the translation?
Yes, Mataji. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfection is in perfect consciousness.
This is a very good analogy given. So, two analogies. One is tortoise, other one is snake charmer. Tortoise is compared to devotees. Sometimes what happens when you start to practice Krishna consciousness, previously you were very interested in going to, say for example, shopping and spending money, gossiping and doing things that doesn't make any sense to your life or your spiritual path, but you still would have liked to do it. But after practicing this Krishna consciousness, your interest has now shifted towards, more inclined towards God consciousness and less inclined towards this some sense gratificatory process or activities, like any self-centric activities now you are not interested in anymore. So when we have this shift, sometimes we are still halfway through, not complete shift, but it's still here also there, here also there. So as gradually progresses, what happens is our interest to enjoy our senses in things like that is not related to this path, spiritual path, then we lose our interest. We start to lose our interest. It happened to me. So before I wanted to go to attend parties, but I never attended parties. But I always wanted to, because when you were in college, they always say, you go to party and have fun. Party in the sense, it's not that party I go to the pub or anything. I never had that interest anyway. But like a family get together, that's what I call party. So I'm not very advanced in that type of things. So when I was new here, I wanted to enjoy, going, having get together with friends and all, because we don't have family here. I used to like that, but I never had a group of friends or anything that I can go hang out with. But when I had, I was not in Krishna consciousness, and my husband and I went there. They invited, because I told them, look, I'm interested in hanging out with a group of friends. I want to make new friends and all. So they said, yeah, come over. And we went there, and they started to have their own things like drinking alcohol, eating meat, and making very sensitive jokes and loud noise. See, remember, we were not in Krishna consciousness that time. But for some reason, we didn't like it. That was our first get together to people's house like that. And we were, my husband was new to Australia. I was like 2 years in Australia. So I never went before also, I never went after also, like that, such houses. So we were there and they were asking questions, we were answering. And because my husband never drinks anyway, even before Krishna consciousness, he didn't have the smoking or drinking habit anyway. So that he was not partaking in that thing, but he was still standing, just, like a courtesy. And I was with the ladies, and the jokes they made and the way they behaved, it was like I didn't like it. And I had to leave early because of that. I told my husband, can we leave? Usually I'm not that person that don't want to sit and talk. I'm like a very talkative, but that mood, the environment, so much in ignorance, mode of ignorance. Even though I was already in mode of ignorance, that must be even the lowest mode of further ignorance, benchmark. So I was not keen anymore, and I told my husband, shall we leave? And they were supposed to drop us. That was the plan, but because they haven't even started the party, so-called party, because they just started to drink and having some entrees. After that only they go to meal, and our regime is different. We eat our meal at 6 o'clock at night for dinner. So they were still doing that. So we thought we'll leave, and then after we left, we never had spoken to them again, and we said we never go again because this is not us. And after coming to Krishna consciousness, soon after that soon we came to Krishna consciousness, and then I thought, no, this is not me. Like, I'm not interested in that anymore. Of course, it's personal choice, individual choice. For some reason, my mind didn't like it, that type of thing. So I started to withdraw myself from that environment. So this is what a nice devotee does. Even though I was not a devotee, and I'm still not a devotee, I'm still trying to practice Krishna consciousness or God consciousness. The point is, when that situation comes, I don't partake, so I withdraw myself from that situations. But people still enjoy. There are people still enjoy, which is again their personal choice. Is no harm. I mean, harm. There are consequences, of course, of what we do and everything, good or bad. There are always consequences, either side effect or side benefit. But what do we do when we start in going into spiritual practice? We start to withdraw ourselves, like how tortoise withdraw its head, and then go into the shell, avoiding whatever the environment that they don't want to be involved with. That is how we also do, or devotees do. Okay, so that this is a very good analogy. And when we are fixed in consciousness, that's what happens, because you're no longer interested in gossiping or talking bad things about others, or doing bad things to others, even animals, including animals also, meat eating, for example. So because we become sensitive to others, we become empathetic to others and compassionate. These are some simple qualities that you already start to manifest as soon as you start chanting. Okay, so next verse, but then there is a snake charmer that will be coming next verse, I think. Okay, so we always try to withdraw our senses within. Okay, when we do not want to engage the senses in non spiritual activities, then we withdraw our senses within. So the next verse is 59. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य param दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. This is very nice verse. Param drishtva nivartate. This line I often quote because often other great devotees quote, so I just copy. So param drishta nivartate is the line that means when you get higher taste, you automatically withdraw the lower taste, correct? So you're no longer interested in lower taste. So let's read the translation. So anyone can read the translation?
Though the sorry, whoever it, you can continue. Sorry.
Yes, Sangeeta, you can go.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for the sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
So, see, if you are not in spiritual platform, Who cares what we do? Even we don't care, right? Our mind wants something, go for it. You want to watch movie, go for it. You want to watch or eat something that is not favorable for your health, just go for it. It's okay. Life is to enjoy, correct? Then why not? Life is short. Life is a game. Play it. Life is short. Enjoy it. All these lokas come from everywhere, correct? Because and then we hear them and we follow them. If we we read Bhagavad Gita sloka, we don't follow, but these type of slokas are more captivating because it's so favorable to our likings. Therefore we just simply follow, and we still struggle even after practicing Krishna consciousness with the mind. We still struggle because Maya, that is what which is not Krishna's external potency is Maya. Because of the Maya, it's also Krishna's energy. Because we are very weak, right? Because when you are not in the association of devotees, Krishna, then what happens is we are weak in terms of our senses, our mind, our intelligence, and everything. So, what we do, the choices that we make, not necessarily conducive for our spiritual environment. We rather choose that or make the decision favorable to what your mind likes, not what your intelligence says. Your intelligence may say, look, um, if you uh, if you apply for this new job, you get a job and you can do a more Krishna consciousness service because your job is now closer to devotees house, for example, or temple, for example. I'm just giving some random example, okay? So we can do more service, we can have more association with Krishna, so that is good. So we'll take this job. If we apply this job, if we get it, we take it, then we can achieve all this. Great. On the other hand, there is another situation. See, if I get this job, if I say yes to this job, already whatever I am practicing Krishna consciousness will diminish because this job demands higher responsibilities and longer working hours and less family time or quality time or my spiritual time. But it has good salary. So that's the catch. And it has very nice salary, and we can do whatever we want to do with that extra salary, like pay off mortgage quicker, buy whatever, put students in nice schools, like not students, like children in nice school, like that. Like the thought comes, the mind will tell you all these things. Okay, so Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, mind is your best enemy, also your greatest best friend, also your greatest enemy, the mind, correct? So how you train and practice the mind is up to you. But for you, you choose the book that you need to teach to your mind. If you choose Bhagavad Gita is the book or Bhagavatam is the book, then you teach that to the mind, then mind, like a child, will listen to you. Initially it won't, it will be like what, I can't do this and that. But later on you keep shutting the mind off, then automatically the mind will start to listen to us. Okay, in fact, mind will tell you that, hey, come on, it's time, 4 o'clock in the morning, come on, chant. And then so that you can have more time to do other things, for example. Or sometimes the mind will tell, it's a time for class, why don't you attend the class? And you are doing something else, you are sitting and eating, why don't you just turn on the class and just still eat? I'm not saying you not to eat, but you still eat. But at least you have some association, you're listening something, you're purifying. More you hear, more you purify. So this type of ideas where you're getting from the mind, you will get because you have trained the mind using your intelligence, correct? The soul using the intelligence train the mind, then the mind will automatically control the senses. The mind will say, you know what, yes, this is very tasty, I know, but you know what, if you eat it, this is what gonna happen. Just make a deal. But mind will also give us option. Okay, what to do, just take one sip, one bite, that's it, so that you are satisfied, you tasted it, and also you are not eating it, you eaten or not eaten, so the both win-win situation. So try, that's all. So this type of tricky idea is also given by mind. So that's why it's important for us to train the mind from the beginning, correct? Like a child, your child minding, right? So if you don't mind a child, what happens? The child will go everywhere and make lot of monkey work, right? Therefore, our mind does the same thing, so therefore we need to do that. So the point here is, if you haven't trained the mind with higher objects, the mind will go to the lower objects, correct? So the mind will always hanker for something so interesting and everything. Mind is not enjoyer. You are the enjoyer. But mind makes you think that if you don't get this, it's your life is waste. You're not going to be happy. This is how the mind tricks us. If you don't get this pair of shoes, you will become miserable in this life. Really? Okay, then I'll buy this pair of shoes. You don't need a pair of shoes. You already have 10 pairs of shoes. Why do you need another pair of shoes? But my mind told me, this is how our mind tricks us. So if you have practiced, given the mind globe jamun, that is higher object, then the mind will not go to the cheap candy, like 5 paise, 10 paise candy that you get. Not cheap candy, they don't go to that, because mind is now happy that I am getting gulab jamun. So that is why if we keep hearing Krishna Katha, purifying our consciousness, chanting, even though we don't know the actual taste of these activities, the devotional activities, but still automatically our mind will get purified, and then mind will automatically ask for it. Hey, what if we can listen to some lecture now, because I'm washing dishes. I have plenty of time. I at least have 20 minutes to complete the dishes and clean the kitchen. I'll put some lecture and I can hear at least 20 minutes, and more sukruti, more benefits. That kind of tricks and ideas the mind will give. So that is great, correct? So that's why we need to keep doing like higher things. So when you have this higher taste, automatically you lose the lower taste. So next verse is 60. यततो हि अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपाशितः इन्द्रियाणि परमातिनि हरन्ति पशबां मनः. Translation. Can anyone read translation, please?
There are many learned sages, philosophers, and transcendentalists who
Sangeeta,
try.
translation. Purport we don't need it, because I will cover the purport. Only translation. Yeah.
Sorry, Mataji.
No,
Mobile
it's
into a mobile. It's making it very small for me. Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is because, I have changed something, so the setup changed. That's why I'm not able to share from my laptop, so I'm doing it from my mobile. Apologies.
Even I'm using a mobile, so it's become small into small. No problem. Sorry, Mataji.
Okay. The senses are?
The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they are forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
See, it's not that it's just you and me that who are not able to control the mind. Even people with equanimity, people with higher knowledge, who are fixed in consciousness, like great sages, they also have this problem. Like Vishwamitra Muni, Saubari Muni. Vishwamitra Muni, we all know. Saubari Muni also, I have told you this story. When Saubari Muni decided to do meditation, super soul, under the ocean, so that he has no distraction or less distraction. And guess what? He was trying to, how the sages would do meditation is only they close 3/4 of their eyes, and therefore they don't go to sleep if they close fully, and don't open widely, because otherwise they'll see everything around. Therefore they close only 3/4, which is very difficult. So for that itself you need concentration to make sure it is 3/4 only closed. So in that gap he saw a couple of fishes mating. Then what happened? He thought, oh, well, maybe I should get married now. Then he got out of the ocean, and then he approached a king and he wanted to get married, and that's a different story. Later on he came back to spiritual path. But the point is, he did fall down. Correct. Vishwamitra Muni also, because of the ankle bells, he fell down to Menaka, and Sakuntala was born. And later he again came back to spiritual path. So the point is, one thing we can understand is, even if you fall down, you'll come back in the spiritual path, because that's how powerful it is, the spiritual path is. But if it is Krishna consciousness, that's which is more powerful than ordinary spiritual path, because this is the supreme path one can take, Krishna consciousness, because the other transcendental paths have these type of fall downs, correct? So the highest sensual pleasure is sexual pleasure, correct? In material world, highest sensual pleasure is considered as that, correct? Uniting with the opposite sex, okay? So then that is the case. You can't control that, then it becomes a problem. But when you are practicing this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, automatically this kind of senses are controlled automatically. It's not mechanically or artificially, automatically controlled. So you're no longer keen or inclined to such activities anymore, because of param tristva nivartate, because of the higher consciousness, the higher taste that you are experiencing by chanting and hearing, correct, which is purifying to you. So here Vishwamitra Muni's example is given in the purport. Okay. Also Ambarish Maharaj example also given. So Ambarish Maharaj one time was observing Ekadasi Vrat, and he has to break the Ekadasi fasting on Dwadasi day, that is next day, next morning. There is a timing. Within that couple of hours or something, you need to break the fast. Okay. Sometimes the timing given is very small. Sometimes the time frame between when you can break fast is small, short or long, depends on the day, or depends on the tithi. So that time, whatever the time he had was very limited. And that time Durvasa Muni came, and he welcomed. The Ambarish Maharaj is a great devotee of the Lord. He uses all his limbs, all his senses to engage in devotional service only, for Krishna service only. When this sage Durvasa Muni, who is very famous for his anger, when he came, automatically what happened is, Ambarish Maharaj, as being a great devotee, he welcomed, whatever due respect that should be offered, he did everything perfectly towards this Muni, Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni said, okay, look, we can have prasadam. And Ambarish Maharaj said, of course, I'll make all the arrangement. Durvasa Muni said, I'll go take bath in the river and come back with my disciples, and then you can do this feast, arrange the feast, make it ready. And Ambarish Maharaj said, okay. And it took so long that the Durvasa Muni hasn't returned from his bath and Gayatri mantra chanting. Ambarish Maharaj is waiting because he has to break the Dwadasi fast between that particular time. Otherwise, it is nullified. It is void. No longer it is useful. Okay. In those days, Vedic days, they observe everything very nicely and very perfectly. Okay. That is how they become these kind of great Vaishnavas and all. In Kali Yuga, we don't follow anything, but still there are so many higher chances of becoming Vaishnava. Correct? Because we don't have any qualification. At least myself, I know I don't have any qualification. Because of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it is so purifying. I come to know my own anger, greed, envy, lust, illusion, pride, anything that comes, that manifests or trying to manifest, I immediately recognize, oh, this is coming out now. I can see some pride is coming out. I can see some enviousness is coming. Let me put that back in. Yeah, like how do we say it? If you have fire, if you put fuel in it, it will it will flame. It will flame more and more. But if you stop fueling, what happened? It will diminish slowly. Similarly, when such anarthas comes, pride, anger, greed, envy, lust or illusion, when you feed them by listening to them and actioning according to your mind's conviction, whatever it is, whether you should be pride, it will tell you should be proud of yourself, then you'll become pride, right? Those kind of activities should be withdrawn only by practicing. When you become aware that, oh, this is going to manifest, this kind of anartha is manifesting or just manifested or going to manifest, depending upon what level we are in, how advanced we are in Krishna consciousness, we will become aware of how and when these kind of anarthas or impurities start to manifest within us. correct? And when once it's manifested, it is embarrassing that we realize that how bad we did that, and then we start to pray. That is what we should do. We pray to Krishna to help us eliminate those bad qualities from us. Okay, so here we discussed about this Durvasha Muni coming back, and he is ready with food, but he can't eat or drink because Durvasha Muni is a guest. Those days they don't do that. But now we eat everything before because we need to taste and everything, and after guests come, then we'll have it again, correct? Not everybody, but I'm just saying. And when Durvasa Muni was ready to come back, he inquired with Brahmanas, consulted with Brahmanas, what should I do? They said, take Tulasi Tirtha, one sip, which is equal to not broken the fast as well as broken the fast. Okay, he was doing Nirjala Ekadasi. That's what was suggested by Brahmanas. So those days, Kshatriyas will get consultation from or counseling from the Brahmanas because they are like head of the society. Who? Brahmanas, because of intelligence. They are also mouth of the society. Kshatriyas are like arms of the society and or arms of universal form. Vratrup, Krishna's Vratrup also. And Shudras are like legs and Vaishyas are like thighs. That's how they represent. And he broke the fast. Same time he didn't break the fast. And Durvasa Muni, as soon as he through his mystic power, he knew that Ambrish Maharaj broke the fast. He came with anger, great anger, out of from his hair, motted hair. He produced a fire demon to kill Ambrish Maharaj. As soon as that happened, this Sudarshan Chakra, who is a devotee of the Lord, he came very angrily. Sudarshan Chakra came to kill Ambrish Maharaj. How dare you can kill devotee Vaishnava, devotee of Lord Vishnu. Then Ambrish Maharaj started to running away from this situation, and he was trying to save his life. See, he is a great Muni. Okay, he has done so much of austerity, piety to come to this stage. Sorry, that was my mobile because of no activity. It just turned off itself. So what I was saying, because of how great he was, but still he was not a great devotee of the Lord. That is why he lost his temper. He was not able to control his anger. He was not able to control his ego, false identification that he is his body and he need the respect, the pride that he had. He wanted the respect from Ambrish Maharaj. That Ambrish Maharaj didn't give him respect or proper hospitality. Even though he did everything perfectly well, Ambrish Maharaj, whatever he should do, more than what he should do, he went above and beyond to do that by not sipping, and he's fasting. He must be hungry too. He is a king. He could have eaten it because he is the one protector of all prajas. But still, he was not like that. He was controlling his senses. But on the other hand, Durvasa Muni, not a devotee, he was unable to control his senses. Okay. And there is another example given here, Yamunacharya. And then what happened to Durvasa Muni was he runs away everywhere. He even go to Vaikuntha Loka. Finally, Vishnu says, look, if you surrender to the lotus feet of Ambrish Maharaj, offer obeisances and offer your apologies, and then only Sudarshan Chakra will release you, because it's not up to me. It's Sudarshan Chakra who is chasing you, not me. Then he did exactly that, and he understood the power of Krishna's devotees or Vishnu's devotees. Okay. Alright. So there is another example given, Yamunacharya, who is a very great Vaishnava. He is, since my mind has been engaged in the service, I'm just touching here. This is where I'm reading. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whatever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. Okay, so this is how Yamunacharya, a great transcendentalist or Vaishnava, who is greater than transcendentalist, is superior to Vaishnavas. Okay, so he was saying like this: whenever I think of any sex life with women, I just spit at myself. What kind of thought is it? Spit at the thought when we have it. So sometimes we also experience some thoughts, similar thoughts, something like I want to enjoy this, right? But which is not again favorable for our spiritual journey. then what should we do is pray to Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. Sometimes, Yamunacharya is very great exalted Vaishnava. He's spitting at his thought. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you have such thoughts, any thoughts that is not favorable, take chapel and beat your mind in the morning and night every day, so that it will be controlled. But again, the mind, as Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, mind can be your great enemy or best friend, correct? So why harm your mind when you can make your mind as the best friend, right? So we simply need to practice it. That's all. If you spit at the mind, beat with the chapel, whatever you do, end of the day, the mind is not going to go away from you. Mind is not going to stop producing desires. All we need to do is not stop the mind, but swap the things with the mind. Okay, not stop what you want to do, but swap it with something favorable. I want to eat gulab jamun, eat that as a prashadam. I want to watch movie, watch some lecture that is giving you that upliftment, spiritual upliftment and the class. And I wanted to go enjoy doing some shopping. Yes, buy something for Krishna as well. Something like that, I'm just giving you example. I'm not an expert or anything. Just giving example where we can swap. Everywhere we can swap. Whatever we do, because jivva veham, the urges from the tongue, which is very powerful, right? The belly, the tongue, the genitals, these are all in same line. And they are very powerful, controlling us. So when we have this chanting power, we can control them automatically. Okay, so I'll stop here. I'll ask any questions or comments. Okay, so if there are no questions, we'll stop here. Thank you very much.